What is up, y'all? It's Brent with another episode of the Groovy Files. And today I got my main man Jay with me.
What's good?
And today we will be talking about the classic underground rap album known as Below the Heavens with Blue and Exile. So starting off, I want to say this, that I feel like this album is the actual embodiment of of what it feels like to be an up and coming artist. Like people don't understand, like, okay, I can't people don't can't understand that people can't just fully commit to music full time. Like they still gotta work their day job and then do the music on their spare time and things like that and things of that nature. So I feel like Blue does a great job of kind of drilling that point home. And I know people try to use the whole, well, Cole is a great value Blue in a sense. And I don't fully agree, but I get the sentiment. But I feel like I do feel like, well, I don't think it's wrong.
Here's the thing.
I don't think it's entirely wrong because when you look at we hear both their music, like their earlier music, like before they kind of like got signed on, and not even before signed on, kind of like in the middle of the pack, like like the Truly Yours EPs and the is it Truly Yours?
Yeah.
The one with Crunch Time on it. Like I feel like
Right.
Crunch Time and a lot of Blue songs from Below the Heavens kind of like match up.
Yeah, they have like there's some similar delivery there. I guess that makes me feel like they draw influence from similar artists, despite being Blue being from the West Coast and J. Cole being from North Carolina. But I guess I can see the similarities in their delivery, especially in the earlier music. But I feel like as both of them, grew and continued to make music, I feel like they kind of differentiated from each other, and I think that's for the better. Because I feel like I feel like as artists mature and as they navigate through making music and the business and all of that, I feel like you want to have something that separates you, and I feel like they have both separated themselves. But as far as the album, as far as Below the Heavens goes, it's one of my favorite debut projects from an artist. And I mean, I know he had like little EPs before this, but as far as his debut album, I love the autobiographical aspect of it. Like you can listen to songs like Dancing in the Rain or the title track, and you can hear him talk about like his upbringing or like what motivates him. Like even going into songs like Blue Collar Worker or In Remembrance, like you hear him talking about his day-to-day life and what motivates him. And you hear especially with the Below the Heavens title track, part 1 and 2, where you hear the influence of being someone that came up, in church with that musical background. Because that's something that, and him being from the West Coast, but me being from the South, that's something that a lot of people from the area I'm from can relate to. And it's something that draws me to this album. And that's the thing, like, as listeners, we tend to gravitate to music that we see ourselves in. And I feel like
that's a bar.
Projects like this is like that. There are pockets of the songs on the album that I see myself in. and I like it. Those songs hit harder for me personally. So that's my my first little thought just about the
So,
album in general.
so when I think of like Blue, I feel like oftentimes we use like you were saying like well you in this kind of instance a lot of times like people kind of I don't agree with using relatableness as a metric as for if someone's music is good or not, but I can see how it will definitely influence it. Like for instance, a lot of people, like a lot of the people that we have on all time, let's say kind of all different lifestyles, everything like that. We have a lot of gangster rappers, we have a lot of non-gangster rappers, all that stuff. So like it's just kind of like relatable isn't a strong metric for me. And but like in terms of listening to music, but at the same time, I can see like gravitating, like you were saying, like definitely gravitating for stuff that we can see ourselves in. And like I feel like with how Blue does such a great job is that he touches on like multiple things here. Um but like he gives you like like what you would look for in an album, like that diversity in songwriting or like a very intact concept. Like for example, like Blue Collar Worker is catchy, but more importantly, people can like people can see themselves in Blue shoes. Like like hey, I gotta go work a job. Damn, fuck. But
Right, right.
or like In Remembrance, where which I feel like I'm very high on that song. Like I feel like that's like one of the best. That's easily one of the best rap performances ever. Like
Mm-hmm.
especially like talking about how far Black people have came, and then kind of Blue kind of interweaving his own life experiences into that. I love that. Trying to think of some. Let me look at some other songs. And then Dancing in the Rain kind of being like the trademark Dancing in the Rain kind of be like a trademark song off the album.
Yeah, for sure.
First things first with me, the the funny shit about this album is that like before Miguel came on like the mainstream space,
Mm-hmm.
that nigga was that nigga was on a legendary album before this, man. And it's this one. That
Yeah,
shit kind of crazy to me.
like listening to the album and you hear the vocal contributions from Miguel or from Aloe Black, and you hear like the music that they went on to make afterward. It's just like you can go back because like that's the thing about artistry. It's just like these artists, they've been active in these circles long before anybody's heard of them for real. Like I didn't know who Aloe Black was in 2007, but like his him and Miguel, like their contributions on this album, that which means they've probably been around before then, because I'm sure this album wasn't made in 3 weeks or whatever. Like I'm sure that there was an intensive recording process, and like being able to get in touch with these people, and Blue being the up and coming rapper that somebody stumbled upon and was like, hey, we need to tap in with this guy. It's just like I can appreciate the process and how long it takes for artists to grow and then grow into their own as an artist and develop a core fan base of their own.
I feel like, and to top it all off with this album, this shit got I would say this is I feel like this is my second favorite Nas homage with my world not my world. I'm thinking Jay Electronica, but
Yeah, you talking about the title track, Below the Heavens.
no, the world is.
The world is. Oh, yeah. I mean he interpolated it on both songs. But yeah, you're
Oh,
right.
I feel like that's a great. I love when rappers are able to give us multiple things out of one album. And what I mean by that is like, hey, I can give you the hey, I'm the best rapper alive. Shit, like I'm really good at rapping. I can give you, oh, I'm a very talented songwriter. I can give you the commercial hit. I can give you the what else am I gonna say? I can give you like the concept. I can give you a bunch of stuff in one album to like show you that hey, I'm versatile. I'm not really a one trick pony. I don't have to rely on certain gimmicks and everything like that to be good. And like I feel like Blue is one of those people, and like I'm much higher on Blue's stuff post Below the Heavens than a lot of people personally. Like
No,
I
yeah, no,
still
he has a great catalog. Like I know that this is the
the
classic
Apex.
album. The one that everybody, when you talk about Blue, this is the first album that people bring up, and rightfully so. But yeah, he's got a very extensive catalog, and there's plenty of great projects in there, and not just the collaborations that he did with Exile.
Who would you say are who would you say are three rappers that well, it's kind of related to people, but not really. Who are three rappers that you would say are in this age are like the best at taking from multiple rappers and infusing them to become their own artists? Because you know how a lot of people try to. I feel like a lot of people talk about influence, and like people think influence is just, oh, this person is influenced by two rappers, boom, that's it. But like I feel like so many rappers we know are much more multi-influenced than we give them credit for. And like I'll say this for instance. I'll use this for example. Uh we give let's use Tyler Creator for example. A lot of people in his early career, if people were talking about, oh, he influenced by Eminem all the way, things like that. But like it was much more nuanced than that. And it's kind of like, okay, you have a little bit of Eminem, you have a little bit of Pharrell, you have a little bit of Wayne in there. You have a little bit of multiple people, and I feel like we view influence in such a uh, black and white way, and from like influence isn't just how somebody raps. It's like how they do their album rollout, how they do their cover, how they do their song structure, how their like rhyme scheme, all that stuff. Like it's a much bigger conversation than people tend to make it. And a lot of rappers are just a lot of rappers like may gravitate towards one artist more, but I feel like a lot of rappers like much more multi influence than we give them credit for. And
Yeah,
like
see,
and it changes over time. Like
yeah, I would like see the thing about hip hop as a whole is the fact that you never know where you're gonna draw inspiration from. Like you can hear a song, and in the back of your head while you're writing, you can write something, and you can pick up something from a source where you weren't expecting to find anything. But the thing about the creative process is it just works that way.
and
Like
that's the beauty of that is the beauty and that's the beauty of art as a whole.
You can
Right.
take you can take from pretty much anything and take from that, fuse a part of yourself, and then put it back out to the world. Whether if it's movies, if it's music, if it's painting, art, drawing, TV, all that stuff. That's like what the beauty of art is. And I feel like, and I read an article today talking about, oh well, it's hip hop's hip hop doesn't have like the number one album this year, and like one of the articles was about, he's one of my favorite writers on Twitter. Like I not on Twitter, but like he writes for Rolling Stone, and I love his music. I love his writing so much. And one thing he pointed out is that we struggle so much with trying to quantify hip hop to prove its value, when in reality you'll never do that. It just never do it. Like you'll never do that. Like for instance, like it doesn't really matter to the grand screen. Like it really doesn't, because hip hop that's what hip hop isn't rooted in. It's rooted in, like, and I ain't trying to be corny, but like when we think of rap, it's literally rhythm and poetry. Literally. Like, so like when we think of it that way, like you can't quantify like I don't think you can ever quantify the human element. And that's one thing I like to say about like hip hop in general, and like how numbers don't really matter. Because like, and he quoted in this article, he quoted this album, Navy Blue, The Medium, which is, I think it's my rap album of the year pretty easily. How that doesn't sell a lot, but its impact is much bigger than numbers, and any album is bigger than numbers. Like I can't listen to an Outkast album and say, oh well, like yeah, like they sold a lot. And I mean, I'm that's not what freestyle. That's not what I'm saying.
It's funny. It's funny you say that. Like, I've never listened to a Aquemini and
think like, yeah, this sold,
and wonder how much the album sold. like I just don't care about that, man. Like, and as an artist or as a record label, if they want to care about that, that's fine. It's well within their right to care about that. As a fan, that has no value to me.
Like
the value to me is in the quality of the music. So, I mean, on the business side, that matters. But
that's not our. That's fans.
That's not my. As a fan, that's not my business.
And like it's kind of like, and I hate that I end up coming back to an NBA comparison over and over and over. I fucking hate it. But when niggas was bringing up, well, the ratings, like the ratings are gonna hit for this. What you call it? Meanwhile, the ratings were like the top were like the highest viewed in like 5 years or something like that for that finals. But
again, like that's not your job to care about that. Like, I mean, yes, somebody has to care about it. I'm sure the TV execs, like, I'm sure they care about that. I'm sure the networks that host the games care about that. Me as a fan, I do not, and I should not.
Like nigga, that is like nigga, that is not our job. And I feel like with Blue, he's like I'm not even Blue, but I'm talking about like I feel like with rap in general, it's suffering from we were watching the songs we grew up on, be sampled, and we're turning to old heads. Even though the songs are ass. Don't get me wrong. The songs are ass, but we are turning into old heads, and it's hurting us because
I feel like I will always feel like if for in order for a genre to be dead as a in mass, you have to it has to be everything. It can't just be like, oh, well, mainstream rap is ass, so like that means his rap is dead. The underground and like the middle tier of artists like are putting out great music, and it's just not getting noticed. And a lot of these bad remakes of old songs that we have are just have a lot of attention. Like that's just what the attention is on right now.
Yeah.
And rap is too reliant on, and I ain't gonna say rap is too reliant on a superstar, but like when the superstars aren't trying, like when superstars aren't putting out something that's greatly that differs from the rest of rap as a whole, or like they just have a absence, the rest of rap gets exposed. Like in the pandemic, people were saying this. People were like, "Man, what's going on with rap right now?" Like, there's still artists putting out good shit. It's just like you can't, if you're. And I hate to use this angle, telling people that they need to be better about going and finding new music, but y'all need to be better. Like it's just we have too many options available and things of that nature to say that, but also I understand that the spaces that were had before aren't really there now. So I'm kind of in the middle. But I didn't want to dwell too long because we kind of talked about this last episode.
Yeah,
I just want to
here's my thing. Like, you know, I don't like to get into the state of music conversations just because it's just it feels like you kind of beat a dead horse with
this
the
ass. Okay,
with the way things are brought up, but it's really, but as the simplest way I can put it, and this is kind of just how I feel in response to most things, is hip hop will never die. So it's like some things really are that simple. Hip hop has been around for too long, and it's continuously growing. It will never die. Like there's always going to be something for you. Always.
I think that's Jay. I think that's absolutely well said. But the final topic I wanted to talk about is and I know how you feel about the certain rapper, and I know how I feel about them too, but I want to talk about it for a very specific reason. And it's Gunna's latest album. And one thing I wanted to say, and I'm not going to dwell on this too much, is that this is the first. I don't think any of these guys are as amazing as people think they are. Like I feel like they have I do think that I have some have great projects, but it's kind of like, okay, y'all are continuing this debate over and over. I'm like, y'all are acting like these niggas are outcasts or like Biggie and other niggas, and like I just don't get it. But what I will say about Gunna is that this is the first Gunna album that I felt like, okay, there isn't so much focus on the producer, and there's a lot of focus on what Gunna is actually saying. And I like Gunna's music, and like I usually mostly listen for like how I feel like he's a good curator. But what I will say is like this is the first Gunna album, and I was kind of like, okay, I'm slightly invested in what he has to say, just slightly, because he came back from jail, and the whole YSL fiasco and everything like that. And I'm surprised. I need more rappers to do albums with less features. I do, because it's just kind of like I don't like seeing. I don't like seeing predictable track lists, and I don't like seeing the same track list over and over. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. So, full transparency, I have not listened to this. I have not listened to the album yet, but like so. I'm all I could go off of is what you're telling me. But that's interesting because like I kind of wondered what the approach would be. So I'm intrigued. I'm gonna check that out.
I like it. Yeah, I like it. I enjoyed it. I ain't gonna lie to you. Yeah, I enjoyed it. But other than that, that's all I got for this episode. You already know the drill. If you want an album for us to talk about, let us know. Topic you want to talk, let us know about. You want a topic that you want us to talk about, let us know. But other than that, we
Wait,
out.
wait, wait. Before we go, while we're on the topic of Below the Heavens, go listen to Cold Hearted. Blue has stated that is probably the most personal song he's ever done, and I appreciate the introspective approach of a song like that. So that's my parting thought. Go listen to Cold Hearted.
I agree. But other than that, we out. Go listen to Cold Hearted. Play some hip hop today. We out.